Welcome back to the English broadcast of the LPL. We're in week 9 right now, so we still have 2 weeks left to play. I guess 1.5 weeks right now before we get to our own playoffs. I know a lot of the other regions right now are already in their playoff run, still making it there, but we have a bunch of teams still able to make playoffs right now, including JD Gaming. I was about to say LGD, who just took a game off JD Gaming.
I feel like this series has turned into who gets rights over the DG title, JD or LGD.
But it's important because if LGD, if they pick up the second game, then JD Gaming are in not a good situation. I guess they get their theme music now, so that's new. But
their intro
JD
music
Gaming,
to get them hyped.
Yeah, I mean they need something because they have to win this series. Because if they lose this one, then essentially their playoff dreams are out of their hands in a sense. It depends on the rest of the Eastern Conference and how they play.
Yeah, the scary thing is that Jingdong Gaming had kind of the wind put back into their sails when then they had that surprise upset victory over RNG. But then Suning Gaming, their #1 competitors for that 4th place spot and a ticket to playoffs, then took down Rogue Warriors in their own upset game. So it's been this tug of war between Suning and JD over the course of the 9 weeks, and losing here does get rid of a lot of that agency, especially when the e-commerce wars are coming up on the end of week 9. So, like we said, they should have been a 2-0 for JD Gaming. They really needed it in case this does come down to a head-to-head and some sort of tiebreaker to who gets the playoff position. But at very least, they have to win here. They wouldn't be eliminated for playoff contention, but it makes it that much harder, and they're already a series behind.
I mean, the thing is, you can see it on the players' faces as well. JD Gaming do not look like in good shape mentally. Even heading into Game 2, we noted that as well. And heading into this 3rd game, like, this is the most down I've ever seen Zoom and Yagao ever. And LGD, for the most part, especially in Game 2 and Game 3, they're just laughing, they're having a good time because nothing is more scary than a team with nothing to lose.
Yeah, and frankly, what they need to do is go back to playing their old traditional style. The fact that they continuously are playing around RD, having these weird picks like Kai'Sa, then bringing out the Kog'Maw composition, I just want to throw it all out. Just put RD on something basic like a Varus, try to get the Xayah if you can, give him some sort of utility pick that will have follow-up and lockdown, and make this all about Yagao.
Put all the resources back towards him. I don't know what's going on, guys.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm getting super freaked out by the music.
Party in our ears right now. I just feel like we're going through an EDM festival.
I think we're just trying to figure
out
the theme music for both teams. I don't think that one necessarily fit LGD.
Okay, here we go. Got some
we'll
rock.
Try again. I like this one.
This makes sense. LGD, they're back in it. They can look to actually claim a series. They can bring pride back to Hangzhou.
This is it. This is like the challenger music.
This is it.
Like
we found it. Keep it.
Okay.
Bump it.
Definitely fits LGD. The JD need to bounce back in this one, and yeah, I feel like just giving Yagao resources, you know, like we also saw the Zoe ban earlier today. Unfortunately, I don't speak Mandarin, so I can't live translate for you, but...
This is Russian roulette with all of the audio samples that we have right now.
What have we got next?
Pull the trigger! Oh, man, that was good.
So, Zoe... I would like to see Zoe from Yagao. I feel like he could bring it out. He was amazing. He was a wrecking ball in the first couple of weeks of play, so would love to see that pick again.
We found it. We got the OG track back.
I feel much better now.
I was waiting for Dodo-san. Now I'm just disappointed.
I believe you can't have it in China. Isn't that a thing?
We can't have it.
No, we can't have it.
But you're not supposed to tell them.
Oh, okay.
Because we got access to Silver Scrapes.
Hey, there we go.
Playoffs are coming.
I'm hyped for that one. Rest in peace, Dodo-san. We've aligned with the rest of the world. We have Silver Scrapes now.
Okay, Zoe. It could be. I don't know why we talked about Zoe.
Yeah, I don't know either. My mind was wandering, and then I found it difficult to concentrate for a bit.
Quick redirect pulse.
Okay. Talking about chances for the second game now for LGD. Do you think it's likely that LGD get it? Because are we looking at like a flash in the pan in that second game, or is it consistency? Because in game 1, they still managed to pick up the Baron. In game 2, they pick up 2 Barons. So heading into this 3rd game, is it likely that LGD will just win because they're more likely to pick up these Barons against JD?
What it should be, though, is it's really dependent on the composition that JD puts together. If they decide to continuously play these late-game scaling comps, then yes, it is very likely that LGD could pick up the series because JD have now shown twice in a row their failure to execute on it. But if JD decide to pivot, go back to what they're good at, they should theoretically be able to blow up LGD before they ever get an opportunity to try to strike back. JD have had both leads in both games before 20 minutes. Now they just need to close on it.
Well, it starts here in Champion Select for us between JD and LGD. LGD selected red side on this one. It will put JD on blue, of course. Camille, Shen, and Gangplank will be the bans here against LGD. And Swain, Zach, and Karma out from LGD. It will be an instant first lock of this Nar for Zoom.
Wow, so much priority going up into this top side, but that does mean the Xayah will finally get to go around. It's a fairly often a red side counter pick, puts more priority onto the Rakan. So we'll see if maybe Mao stretches his wings this time around, takes a page out of PYL's book and looks for the Leona to counter.
Now try and lock him down. There's the Xayah that has been banned out previously in the set. Will be picked up by FDY and LGD. They are potentially looking towards their jungler here as well instead of straight looking for their support right here.
There's no reason not to pick up Olaf. He is still a phenomenal jungler. I'm very curious why his priority has been so low for this series, because in the rest of the LPL he's been absolutely fine.
Yeah, very much the case. JD will get the Kha'Zix, so very much Intruder's pick right there, because we'll be playing it this time around. There was a hover over Kai'Sa by JDs. They are definitely thinking about it, but they will move to Caitlyn in the end.
I think they have tracked down some of the problem, much more of a standard composition. And what's interesting here is that now that you're facing Olaf, Azir's priority raises up a lot more, and Yagao is known as a phenomenal Azir. And now when you also pick up the likes of Caitlyn, Azir also fits very well into this comp. So I would love to see LGD pinch this before Yagao gets his hands on it.
Zoe, to be the banner against Yagao. So, hey, we talked about that one. JD Gaming back over to them, looking for their bans now. Bot lane has already been picked up, so it's a solo lanes. So we'll see if they actually just pinch Jinu some more. No, it's going to be Yuki. They don't want to see Cassiopeia again.
Could mean that a possible Rise pick is coming out of Yagao as well, so this will tip LGD off, but what's about to happen may also force their hand into their secondary ban, and then picking Rise out of secondary ban phase to deny it from Yagao. But I still feel like it's a trap card. I feel like Yagao wants the Azir, because when Olaf runs in, Azir can use his ultimate to create distance between Olaf and the rest of his team.
Yeah, and Olaf can't, of course, get over the wall after that point, so he's just a very sad berserker. There's the Sion ban as well towards Jinu and Yuki right there, so LGD back over to them. We'll see what their priorities will be from here on out.
Are you going to fall for the trap, or are you going to pick up the Rise?
Trying to take that one away from Yagao.
They know!
Oh, they know! They're literally hovering between the two.
It's a total trap card, a trap moment, because Azir, even though Rise would win the early pushing power because of it until around, or he'd open up the map around level 5, level 6, and he'd have the initial roam on Azir, Azir was just going to outscale him. I just think this is a great read from LGD.
They've seen it, and they'll lock it in. We're still hovering. Okay, there, Emperor of the Sands has been locked in. 60% win rate so far in the LPL, over 70 games. It's definitely been a strong pick so far. And LeBlanc just got locked in by Yagao, so it seemed like there was a counter to the counter of the counter.
How deep does it actually go? We definitely credit and give most of the sway in this matchup to Yagao. Morgana, a very rare pick in the LPL. I believe it's only been played once previously, despite the fact that globally it's having much bigger footprint, especially in the West.
Yeah, I mean, of course we have Marin back in the LPL, so I'm surprised we haven't seen any top lane Morgana yet. But JD Gaming looking towards their support pick.
Does make sense into
It will be Morgana.
Xayah.
Yeah, we've seen 3 Morganas so far. Has generally done pretty well. It's won 2 out of the 3 games.
And this is the idea. So in Korea, we saw the Leona pick come out as kind of the counter to Rakan, because she can stick to Rakan when he decides to tag back into Xayah and give her 2 viable targets that she can look for the stun. In the West, Xayah still having priority there, and then empowers Rakan. We've seen the Morgana appear, having the Black Shield available to dissuade a lot of that. But Morgana is not a big LPL pick. If you've watched mostly Western regions, if you're new to the LPL, I believe, again, it's only been played once this split in the LPL, and even historically, Morgana was never really a pick. Doinby played it, Marin and Flandre both played it up into the top lane, but if you go all the way back to 2014, Morgana was a huge pick in the support position, and China got absolutely obliterated on the international stage by Cloud9, Lemon Nation, who pulled out the Morgana, and then immediately following that event, all they played was Morg. They had yet to be awakened to the power of that pick.
And that's the rebirth, looks like, coming up from JD as they've locked in the Morgana in this game. I believe it has been picked up 3 times so far in this split, but it's still single digits, like 3. The difference between 1 and 3 is obviously not a lot.
It's also very recent in its pickup.
Yeah, for sure. So now teams are starting to move towards that one. But again, JD, they've put the power on Yagao. This is exactly what you said before Champions Select. Was like, well, we want to see more power to Yagao. We want to see playmaking potential for him. That guy probably just broke his phone. Back over to you.
Stomp on it next time. No, and it was a very clever draft phase coming out of JD Gaming. Like I said, I felt that they controlled the draft phase. LGD were being very reactive to it. But that said, still not a bad takeaway for LGD. You cover up JD's draft. You don't look at how this happened. You just come into Champion Select. You're still running around with Olaf.
Still have Olaf. And now you have the Azir on your side as well of your LGD.
Xayah, Rakan, Olaf, Azir. You've got late game insurance policy and your scaling potential from Azir. You have bot lane, or theoretic bot lane control by having the Xayah and Rakan. We'll see if Morgana is able to tip the scales or somehow turn something in our favor. And you have Olaf. Like, LGD have a great composition, but I still loved how JD played it.
Yeah, now JD, they prioritized the Nara in this one as well, so they're trying to make sure that Zoom had a good matchup into Jinnu, who pretty much just picked the tank at the end of the day, picked up the Ornn on this one. So we're 1-1 now in the series. LGD, they have the potential to play upset against JD Gaming. Let's see if they can do it in their home arena, no less, in game number 3. Fans sticking around until the end of the day, supporting LGD until the bitter end.
Seems to be a reoccurring trend with this team. But
yeah.
maybe good things on the horizon. I've
Possibly.
seen a lot of things that I like from this roster. Said it in game number 2. I'll repeat it now because I feel like a lot of eyes are going to be on him. Intruder. I feel like this is a real diamond in the rough for LGD. Thought that they should have invested more in him over Amy in the previous seasons, but maybe he's finally getting his chance.
Yeah, lots of young blood, new blood on this team for certain. Take a look at those keystones heading into this game. So Electrocute on Yugao LeBlanc. In the bottom lane will be Ares on Mao, on Gucci Mao.
Gucci Mao.
And what else have we got? Anything else out of the ordinary? Pretty standard across the board.
And speaking of, Intruder on the Olaf pick, and then looking across at Clid on the Kha'Zix pick, we have seen LPL players try to look for the Kha'Zix into Olaf, because again, Olaf does get very low in the jungle, opens him up to the potential of an assassination, which Kha'Zix does very well. But both junglers actually starting topside. And hold on.
Hey, that's the priority you were just talking about,
That's
and
how
even
that
chasing
works.
down onto Mao. Yeah, he just lost all of his health. He did manage to avoid the knock-up, luckily with the Black Shield, because if he got knocked up, he was definitely dead.
And it's huge that PYL was also able to sidestep the Q there, the Pilt over Peacemaker from RD, because it means that he can retain his 3 pots. So it's not just a huge health advantage, it's a huge pot advantage. Although he's going to pop it up now.
Another
he wants
engage
the all in.
onto RD, got the Black Shield, but that's already flashed away, and he's just straight up dead. PYL will find first blood.
And that was pretty much insta red. As soon as PYL pops the pot on that instance, because he doesn't need to, you basically know that it's going to be an all-in engagement with the level 2 advantage. So RD, he's a veteran of the scene, formerly of the LMS, definitely caught with his pants down.
Probably should have seen that one coming, and LGD will get the advantage in the bottom lane, push this one in, probably look for their first back as well, so that is absolutely devastating, though it is on the cannon minion wave, so, and Mao is also here, so there's a possibility for him to hold the wave. No, he's going to get pushed back by FDY, so the cannon minion will allow RD to get back into lane, pick up most of these minions.
Yep, and both junglers have had pretty good tempo through their jungles. We take a look at the domination sorcery, but hold on.
I was going to jump in, and I believe, yeah, Clid jumped out of the brush there, so I think LGD know exactly where he is now, but he's not going to stop him from walking up to Yuki, saying hello, and trying to harass him out of lane.
Yeah, Yuki stepping forward a bit aggressively there.
So you can see Transcendence and Ultimate Hat obviously makes a lot of sense for LeBlanc, a very spammable ultimate, even early game has a relatively low cooldown, and of course sudden impact as well, because LeBlanc jumps around a lot.
Sudden impact, zombie ward. Certainly help out the protection of the side lanes.
Gonna get some CC down onto Zoom and a follow-up CC as well. Intruder's looking for this one, chasing down Zoom. He's still holding onto his flash. There's the flash, but the undertow connects, and Yugao, or rather Intruder, it's just gonna kill Zoom on the spot.
And that's both side lanes from LGD that are effectively running away with their matchups. So we see this a lot in the LPL. Ornn and Olaf has tremendous kill pressure. Not even Gnar can hop away with both his escape and his flash available to him. So strength of the bot lane, strength of the top lane. It's continuing.
We're seeing the bottom lane aggression once again. RD heals away from this one, but the flash forward's out from FDY. Finds that kill. It goes to PYL once again, and the lockdown. Mao finds that point-blank dark binding, and now PYL is being chased back to tower. The Ares damage is coming in, and the flash out from Clid. He will get the finish-off kill, but both of these bot lanes are low now from JD Gaming, and here comes the teleport out from Jinnu. He doesn't have flash, however, but he is able to get through the minions onto Clid with the Black Shield. Should be able to walk this one off.
Delayed Black Shield. Intruder's also coming around the side, so we'll see if he looks for the dive.
Oh, he's got Predator. He's coming in. Oh, he decides to back
binding.
away. Yeah, doesn't want to get into a bottleneck right there, so he'll back away.
Does have his flash, though. I would expect Intruder to be one of the players to try to outplay on the Dark Binding.
Didn't go for it in the end.
Take another look at this one. So very early, Black Shield comes out, and an excellent flash from FDY that your CC blocker's not here. I'm going to flash, reposition, get the feathers and the root on both of you, and at least trade advantageously until everyone else got involved.
Yeah, though in the first two
Creep
kills
damage.
in that 2 versus 2, yeah, the creep damage was huge, plus the Tormented Soil. As a teleport back into the mid lane, Yagao just arrived, and Intruder and Yuki are trying to harass him out of lane. But both of those kills went over to PYL, is the point I was trying to make. So, unfortunately, FDY did not benefit hugely from those kills.
Still got his pull, though. He'll make bank.
Oh yeah, he will, eventually.
Big thing is that everyone has their summoners down, and Rakan's going to be the person who thrives there. But we are still setting up a hard camp mid lane. That is a flash on his ear.
But it's still coming. The lockdown onto Yuki. He's in place. That is as easy as you like. Another kill over to JD.
And frankly, just another mechanical misstep from Yuki and a bad read on the situation. He's not playing to his strong side of the map, didn't have any vision down there. His jungler's on top side behind him, so there's no reason to be standing there in the first place. Steps forward, isn't conscientious of the chain coming out of LeBlanc, dies with flash up, dies with heal up. Just kind of inexcusable all around.
That'll be JD once again evening up the scales in this one in terms of kills. Bot lane will continue laning, but Caitlyn is rather down the farm. There is a large minion wave heading towards, however, but FDY has still got a pretty hefty CS lead over her just because Caitlyn's died twice.
But he needs to be careful because while Rakan is going to have his flash up and available, and there are missing flashes on the side of RD, you should just rather let this push in while your jungler is top side preparing a gank for Jinnu.
Here comes Intruder. I believe he snuck in. Zooms in Mega, but I think it's like Intruder kind of half committal to this one. Jinnu gets the knock up, but Olaf's actually choosing to stick around. He's about to go mini, Zoom.
Trying to get him to commit. It's the bait. It's all a ploy.
I think he just poked his head out, but apparently not. Zoom didn't see him. Ornholm comes through. He finds the knock up mid-hop animation, and that Zoom, he's just straight up dead.
Jinnu just trying his best to look delicious, and Zoom took the bait. He bit down hard, and way more than he could chew.
Unfortunate again in the top side of the map. That was a priority Noah pick as well into Jinnu, hoping he was going to have a good matchup, but Intruder has completely dominated this one, and 2 kills over to LGD in that 2 versus 1.
And again, it's just the side lanes from LGD performing, so as long as their mid lane doesn't completely get caved in, they are just going to slowly win this map.
That's what's happening across the board right now. Dark Binding, well, they hit. But PYL is here with the little bit of defense there as well. RD was unable to get in range with the trap, but once again, Caitlyn has pretty much neutralized this lane and has pushed up to this side. Rakan, we'll see if Intruder can once again look for another gank.
What I'd actually like to see is some unlocking from Yagao. He doesn't often play the LeBlanc, again, more so on the utility champions, but it is one of his signature picks. Played it a lot when he was previously in the challenger scene. Has a lot of the mobility that we like to see him take over into the professional scene. And I think his lanes really need the assistance.
Well, the side lanes are not going well, that's absolutely correct. But Yagao, the resources have been given to him this game. He's also gone for that early Dark Seal with the Corrupting Potion. Just deciding on his items here, he just sold the Sorcerer's Boots, went instead to the makings of Hextech Gunblade, and also has Longsword as well. So looking to continue to put the pain down onto Yuki.
But it's also very hard to continuously just try to attempt to gank mid lane. Yuki still is holding on to his flash and his heal, and yeah, he died previously with those summoners up, but it shouldn't have happened. So it's still relatively difficult to gank him, and then he's also sitting on the blue buff, so if you just shove the wave into him trying to poke him out, he's just going to clear infinitely. I think that Yagao needs to pull Clid from this lane, join him, and head bottom.
Move to a different lane, try and get the other lane
They
snowballing.
really are just
wow,
like, no,
they're
we
moving
can
back
kill him.
towards the mid lane. In comes Clid. He's going to be knocked towards the tower, but Yuki's low. He'll flash, he'll heal, and Intruder's here to back him up.
Okay, now your option is that you can continue to gank Yuki. If you feel that he is just the weakest member on the team and you can punish him, doesn't have flash, doesn't have heal, now is the opportunity.
Try again, but this time, this attempt will go better. JD into this bottom lane. PYL is looking for a potential engage, though he gets caught out by the Dark Binding. Unfortunate, but should still be able to clear out this ward before backing away. Or not. RD is there. Oh, PYL, he wants it. He's already seen the ward. There we go.
He's got his little hop.
Yeah, he's able to get back to FDY, so all good in the bottom lane. Clid is actually hanging around. He's just picking up the Krugs right now, so potential for him to try and affect this bottom lane, but for the most part, RD and Mao are just pushing in.
He assumes that Intruder's in the area. He's now been spotted out by a lot of vision, but for PYL to have the confidence to clear a ward like that, and Intruder was on the bottom side, yes, he has his W, he'd be able to reposition, but you always assume that the jungler's standing behind him.
Junglers just tracking each other right now. Clid's going to go back into his jungle. Intruder level 7, almost level 8. Come towards this bottom lane. He's been caught up by a ward. Control was going to see this one.
They have teleports, but so does Zoom.
So LGD, there's some space to push up to the tower more than anything else.
I agree with this maneuver, especially if Olaf decides to turn on the Mountain Dragon instead of trying to force this bottom lane play. Oh, this is risky.
Oh, he's still going.
They've been hovering around this for so long, and yes, they have the teleport from Jinnu, but like I said, Zoom also has TP, as does Yagao. I think that this is just a massive numbers advantage that they don't want to take.
Still not engaging, not pulling the trigger on the bottom side. Clid did, in the end, decide to go back to base, and it will resolve in the bottom lane. So Intruder moves towards the mid lane, was looking for potential gank. That didn't happen either, didn't really work out. And Yagao is continuing to push this one in, but we haven't really seen those roams come out from this LeBlanc yet.
Intruder just needs to commit to the dragon. He has spent about 45 seconds just going up and down this river.
He's very well acquainted with it now. PYL and FDY will head on up. Clid is around the area. He has smites available. Yuki is coming in from around the backside, so LGD should be able to just come around this one unless Clid finds a steal, but it's most likely going to be a one-way trip for him if he does so. And that's unfortunate. Dragon will start resetting, so LGD have to spend another couple seconds on this one. This has been spotted out by JD. And unfortunately, the bottom lane is just caught in the bottom side by the quickness, and that's a massive engagement out from PYL finding that kill. Clid jumps over the wall, thinking maybe he can pick up the dragon, but the team is already back around the area. That's going to be a kill and a dragon now to LGD.
Huge capitalization of the ward that PYL put down. And the thing is JD Gaming knew that brush was warded, or at least they should have remembered that the brush was warded, because it was their control ward that was previously cleared up that set the ward there in the first place.
Just a misstep, and RD and Mal, they were just grouped up together, so both of them get hit by the quickness and the knock-up in from PYL. It's a kill, it's a dragon, and now bot lane pressure coming in from LGD, so they can actually just take down this turret. Intruder looks like he's backing though.
And it's because there's so much pressure that's being forced into the mid lane still, and this is where JD's only winning point is for the early game at this point. It's camp Yagao, punish Yuki, try to cave in this mid lane, and then use that as a pivot point. But in response, you can actually see Jinnu's being pulled down. Should be placing vision on that blue. I think he's taking grab. Oh, there he goes.
He's still coming down. He's very much being spotted. I went for the honey fruit as well, so now he will pick up this grab. Should be able to clear it relatively easily, having CC. And now I'm just tracking Clid once again. He's moving into his top side. His blue is about to spawn as well. Yeah,
so the play from LGD is going to be, you can see that Intruder started on top side. He's going to make a full jungle clear, pass over blue to Azir, and then they're going to look for a window to try to exploit bottom. For Jingdong, it should be another attempted gank on Yuki. Still doesn't have his flash. His heal is going to be coming up quite soon. And they know that he's going to rotate over for the blue buff, so possibly even setting up a trap. You can see there's a really deep control ward that's underneath Intruder's wolf pit. If Yagao gets control of this minion wave, maybe he sits in the brush, tries to catch the Azir coming back into the lane.
It will have to be a dive though, because Yuki is playing very paranoid, as he has to do in the middle lane.
He even checked for it. He placed his own control ward next to his tower.
I mean, he's been ganked so many times in the early game, he knows someone's probably waiting, someone's trying to gank him. But Yagao, it's actually the 1 versus 1 he needs to be afraid of, because it's another FPL chains connecting. Though Yuki didn't have enough damage to finish him off there, Yagao, and he'll back away from this one. Though LGD moved up with their bottom lane and Intruder, so it was a PYL and Intruder roam and push out this lane.
But Yuki getting destroyed so hard in the mid lane is actually impacting the bot lane plays. And LGD are forced to put into a situation where they really want to pull the trigger on bot lane, because Zoom is so close to taking down the top lane tower, which is what the Observer is showing us right now, but you're still dealing with the possible teleport.
It's clear, chasing down to Jinnu, saves his leap so he can follow up with more damage. As Taste Their Fear is starting to rack up on Jinnu, but knocks him back towards the turret, giving time for Zoom just to knock down this tower because it is very low.
Oh, it's close though!
Oh, no, going to be won by LGD. They were trying to win that race, that's why Clid went over. Otherwise, he's probably going to give Zoom solo gold, but yeah, LGD win the race to first tower, get an extra 300 gold.
Yeah, so despite the fact that Yuki is still really struggling this mid lane, 120 to 88, LG are able to win that race and cover for their mid laner.
I feel it's pretty good if LGD, and especially Yuki, who is definitely 30 farm down right now up against Yagao. Top lane is winning, however, as well for JD Gaming, so it's still coming together, but for now, JD, or rather LGD, have a small advantage in this game.
But what's cool about them grabbing the Rift Herald here is that they can... Oh, you're talking about LG with the advantage.
Yeah.
I was going to say that JD could actually open up an even larger advantage in terms of map pressure. Because the Rift Herald will most likely be used on a secondary tower, because they don't need to use it to take down an outer, since both of them are so low. The last remaining one is very low.
Yeah, I mean, they could be safe about it and just plonk it down in mid lane, just knock it over, just because Yuki is annoying on this Azir, clearing out the mini waves over and over and over again. But they would have to make multiple steps to kind of move into the top side if they want to take that tower.
Or they could just 1v1 kill him again.
Or, yeah, Yagao could just murder him. That also works. Ace and the hold damage is also going to assist in that regard. Now, the bottom lane is rotating here. FTY and PYL are around the area. Difficult to say both those names back to back. RG is going to push up to this tower. The minion wave is mostly destroyed, but it's very close to dying. Great black shield out from Mal right here, and the engage pretty much turns into nothing from PYL.
That was perfectly played by Gucci Mao. Denies all of the flank from PYL as well as Intruder.
Yagao will continue to look for this harass damage onto FDY, who was damaged in the last engagement. Another minion wave will come in. RD looking to push this one back.
Yagao needs to take him back, though. He's finally going to get it. He's sitting on a ton of gold. He's going to have his Rage Blade. Not his Rage Blade.
His Gunblade.
His Gunblade. He's Squall.
Oh, I'm so ready for Rage Blade LeBlanc. There it is.
Please no. His Gunblade complete, and he's now just going to mirror Yuki into the side lane. Like, Azir cannot catch a break right now. Anywhere LeBlanc is, he needs to get the hell out.
Yeah, he will follow him to the ends of the world. The worst type of stalker.
Free food.
There you go. LGD in this mid lane with the 3-man stacker, able to keep this tower alive, even though it's on its last legs. The pressure will not be given up. LGD are going to remain around this tower. So now here comes the collapse. Klid is in the bottom side. Yuki has just abandoned hope. He's just gone to mid lane once more. Does not want to be laning alongside LeBlanc, and they actually send Jinnu down there.
But why this is important is because anytime FDY and Yuki are in the same lane, naturally then they're splitting the gold. They also need Azir to assist to help hold this tower or dissuade just a free take, although already at this point should actually just walk up and hit it. They have to keep the minions off the tower. No!
No, not going to happen. RD steps up, hits it 4 times, and the tower eventually falls. So ultimate turret down now for LGD. JD with that 2 tower
I think Herald might be coming down soon. I was going to say, the nice thing about taking the Herald with both the mid and top outer tower so low is that you shouldn't be forced to use it on an outer structure. You get to use it on an inner structure. But we're about halfway through with this timer, and bot lane tower is still standing. I kind of have a feeling that Klid's going to sneak in through the back of this brush, maybe look for a 1 or a 2v1 kill on Jinnu and then place Herald.
Yeah, just try and push that one all the way through. LGD with their duo lane move into the top lane here. That's going to be met by Zoom, and Intruder's also heading up to look for this 2v2 potentially, though Zoom has just run all the way back. So he was expecting more to come in, of course. Intruder is LGD's jungler, so definitely a good reason for him to run away. There's the Herald, and his charge should be enough to finish it off.
A good read from Jinnu, however, to recognize that he was in kill threat, that Kha'Zix was hanging around. He just disengages, lets the tower go, and it's a 1v1 trade. But JD trading up, because they also get mountain.
Yeah, they'll pick up this second Mountain Dragon of the game. LGD managed to pick up the first one. Yagao, maybe let's get some damage onto Jinnu as he steps up. Misses the ethereal chains. So Jinnu is absolutely okay.
So at this point, JD can now start playing towards the top side of the map, and this is where everything tends to go wrong for JD. It's at this exact moment, 18 minutes in.
We've just crested it, but there's no Baron alive for us. Why is now a bad time for JD?
Because it's also about the setup and the preparation. Again, once all of the outer towers are down, this is where JD lose their minds. They just, again, coloring outside of the lines. They're great at paint by numbers. You remove the numbers, you start getting some Picasso-looking artwork. So we'll check in how they set up their lane assignments, where they're moving their vision to, how they're moving as a unit, and where they continue to pressure LGD. Because now is the go time for JD. They have to win this series. Suning are still 1 series ahead of them in the playoffs, and this is the pivotal moment where they tend to fall apart.
This is the time, yeah. In the jungle, there's actually a big advantage to Intruder, around 1,000 gold. Mid lane, of course, is definitely going over to Yagao, about 1,500 on that one. So just seeing the difference between these players right now. But yeah, I definitely agree with JD, but don't LGD also kind of lose their minds around this time?
Well, it's hard to say if LGD ever had minds because they never reach this point in the game. They usually just get blasted out in the lane phase, but they actually won lane phase this time around, and they have a composition that scales very well into the late game. So JD, the onus is on them for them to be proactive. They need to take advantage of this, even though they don't technically have the gold lead. They have the tempo lead because they have the kill pressure in a 1-3-1 scenario, because Yagao is that much farther ahead than Yuki.
Yagao is constantly hunting with his team. That's the lockdown, but has to use the Ragnarok right there, Intruder, to get out of that CC. Otherwise, he was very much a dead berserker. So he'll back away with no Ragnarok now. So that is down. JD may look towards this one. Now moving towards the top side, and again, LeBlanc is side laning. And once again, Jinnu is laning alongside Zoom. So Yuki, his entire life goal is to get away from Yagao, and for now, he's done it.
This is about how well can LGD hide Yuki, allow him to scale up and just be that Azir, that late game damage threat and control for their backline that they need. And for JD, it's about can they actually get a Baron in a best of 3?
Very much the case.
Because they definitely needed to crack an Azir.
Oof. Well, that was a lot of damage onto Yuki there from Clid. He's very much aware of that one.
So Azir's nickname in the Chinese client, because in China, champions aren't just called, he's not just called Azir, they all have Chinese nicknames.
Yep.
He's the Golden Chicken. I actually feel like in this instance, that is very fitting. Like, Yuki is not an Azir player, he is a Golden Chicken player.
I mean, he has to play like a chicken.
He's delicious.
There's nothing else he can do. Like, I do not blame Yuki. I mean, maybe you can blame him for dying in lane, but like, even then, he plays the lane passively, and now he's just trying to survive, and that's his goal, as you said. He's picked up the Nash's Tooth, he's gone now into Haunting Guys, and is building up, trying to get towards that second item for himself, or I guess his third item. This is, you know what this is? All right, I'm going to hold on for a second as LGD are looking towards Clid. This is the British versus the American thing, when you talk about like the basement floor and the ground floor differently to us.
Okay.
Like floor 1 and floor 2, like
yeah, I've been
talking
confused
about
by an
2
elevator.
items and 1 item. So this is like 2.5 items, I guess, from Yuki in American.
I think the shoes count. They're important.
I guess we do say 6 items when
yeah, exactly.
when you have boots, right? So
shoes,
I guess you're technically
shoes
right.
matter.
Shoes do matter. Justice for shoes. Cleared again, just clearing out wards. There's a lot of control wards actually here for JD. There's 1, 2, 3 control wards all around this Baron. So they're trying to get the setup.
But they always fail to crack that ramp, to get in, get that triangle vision behind, and then to make the correct pick. So what JD Gaming need to do is with their Caitlyn and their Morgana, they need to get priority over the mid lane. Just park those guys right into the mid lane, just have them constantly either neutralize that lane or have it pushing forward. And then with Intruder, he needs to go up and down that river, which is completely covered by control wards, so he's practically invisible. And he just needs to see who's going to meet either Caitlyn or Morgana and then try to kill them off of Binding, or who's going to meet Yagao in the top lane and try to kill them off of Chain. Then once you crack that, then you immediately rush your vision into the red jungle and then fall back into the Baron.
And LGD, I wonder how much of this was decided by them, because they had a side choice in Game 3 and they actually chose the red side. So I wonder if they just want to get into the situation again, which they also won in Game 2, where they can just defend this ramp and then have someone get caught and then move on to the Baron once again.
But their priority in defending the ramp is actually with Golden Chicken up there. You have to think, again, it's a choke point. You've got all those Sand Soldiers, the ability for Azir ultimate to lock off massive portions of terrain. So this is where JD fell apart last time. This exact situation when they committed too hard on trying to kill Yuki in the top lane, that Jinnu was able to punish them on the bot side. They need to move as a team, either blitz in for vision together, or make picks, but don't leave the rest of your team exposed while 2 of your members are looking for the pick.
This is scarily similar. For now, JD have not engaged
this
yet.
this exact moment.
Yagao is pushing up, but this time he's actually on a carry, so he can look for the picks themselves instead of trying to play the supporting cast. Red buff has spawned here from LGD, probably going to get this one over to FDY, he's heading up.
And again, onus is entirely on JD. As long as we continue to sit like this, LGD are perfectly fine. They look at their composition, look at their champions, they're getting free gold just funneled into them.
Yeah, Xayah, going to love extra gold going over to them. The Azir is finally able to farm up. Xayah's obviously going to hit like a truck later into the game with the crit build.
Think
so
of this
LGD absorbing,
like a bear trap. LGD have pulled the bear trap. They are the bear trap. It's pulled open, and JD are they're very carefully trying to pull something off the middle of it.
The cupcake.
Yeah, exactly, and just swap it out. Now, the trap closing is the Ornn teleport, because Ornn ultimate with Azir in this tiny little jungle will absolutely destroy JD's composition.
And take off that arm.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's the scary part. But otherwise, we're going like full Indiana Jones right now. We're just like juggling side lanes. We're sweating. We're starting to pull off the rock, replace it with the sand. I guess it's an idol in sand.
Yeah. I guess in Game 2, they lost one arm to the bear trap, so now they still have their other arm.
You could still be an adventurer with one arm.
Yeah. Can you be an adventurer with 0 arms, though?
Yes.
But they would have lost the series, so I would say no. This very much does revolve around this Baron here. There's a second item now from Yuki. Second item also picked up from Yagao. You can see he's a blasting one ahead right now in terms of item build. Also, his Gunblade is very expensive. About 24 minutes into this one, and LGD, we've slowed down. It's very noticeable. We haven't had a kill in probably 15 minutes from now.
And it's unfortunately that the dragons aren't higher priority, so it's not forcing the teams to respond and kind of smoke out JD from this Baron area. They're not forced to pick up their vision and move it to secure something like an Infernal or a Mountain.
And LGD are pretty content with where they are right now. They're just going to let this Cloud Dragon go over to JD Gaming. It's going to be soloed up by Cleared as well. And they'll see this one go down. And probably hope for a slightly better Dragon into the future. Again, as a reminder, this is a must-win game for JD Gaming.
And there is a break point here on the composition. So LGD aren't going to sit passive like this forever. Again, yes, we're waiting on itemization and gold, specifically from Yuki. You can see right now the gold difference between LeBlanc and Azir is quite noticeable. So you're looking at 3 items, but once he hits that 3-item mark, LGD are going to be actively hunting with PYL and Ornn. In fact, you can see a little bit of that happening right now.
What I find is interesting is FDY actually has the most gold in the game right now. He's just being, all of this gold is being funneled towards him. Here's the rotation from LGD, and JD are not necessarily in position to defend, but here comes the teleport. Here comes the bear trap, actually this time from JD Gaming. Yagao has to jump away from this one, but there's the follow-up onto the Ragnarocking Olaf. He'll flash away from this one. And the healthy members are going to block all the shots, and LGD, they actually managed to disengage. Yeah,
they're not punished, and they're back to their high ground. They want to immediately get back to the ramp and try to hold it, but this may be enough. JD, they didn't find the pick, but they did actually get their toe in the door.
Yeah, they got a lot of damage down onto Intruder and PYL, both of whom will have to go back now. And JD is setting up their own trap. They're sending in the scout, which will be Clid. And they've managed to find the front line, but here's the 4 versus 4. And Clid, he's looking for the assassinate onto Yuki. There it is, 1, 2, looking for the third as well, but he's taken out mid-air. FDY has so much damage, but here comes Intruder as well. He's looking to come through the front right now. Jinu, he backs away, dashes to safety, but RD, he looks at low health members. He wants to finish off onto FDY, but he can't quite find it.
And RD hasn't gotten an MVP yet, but he is trying to make this series entirely about him. Kog'Maw in game number 1, Kai'Sa in game number 2, and now sprinting ahead of his team, Shotgun Caitlyn in game number 3. Might be the only thing that will keep JD in this game if it continues to scale deeper and deeper.
The LWX approach, what we can see the catch onto Ornn right here.
I want everyone to be paying attention to Clid right now. Clid has a front row seat to trying to deny FDY, but when Xayah uses the ultimate, she's not a viable target for him to hit. So instead, he attempts to hit the Azir, he doesn't get the assassination on the AD carry, and it's why the team fight, yes, JD still win, but it's not a complete wash for LGD.
FDY would love everyone to come into that choke point and just line up for this Xayah damage. But yeah, good stuff from Clid. That was a very wide flank as well, coming all the way around the back of the jungle. And that was really facilitates because JD were actually able to push up the ramp because they, LGD had to be forced away in the mid lane. So it's just these kind of knock-on effects that we're seeing that are allowing JD to make it happen.
And now it's going to be a reset. We're going to start the war over Vision. The Great Vision War of 2018. It's going to happen again.
How many wards will die?
Just slaughtered.
Well, Yagao in the top lane. Potentially caught out. He did a lot of damage to Yuki. He'll have to go back to base right here. This is a small opening for JD.
It's hard though because Zoom doesn't have TP and he's actually bottom lane.
Okay, so it's not going to turn into anything. Yuki gets his free recall. He can go back to base now.
Yeah, it means that JD weren't going to overcommit on that because they didn't have eyes on Jinu, or maybe they did and knew he was mid lane, but either way, they either don't know where the Ornn is or they see that the Ornn is much closer than their Gnar. So the previous problem was that JD bit off way more than they could chew in game number 1 and overcommitted. This time around, you're seeing a lot more patience.
Cleared again, looking for this flank. FDY steps up. He managed to get the red buff away while it was being contested by JD. Intruder trying to get all the gold he can in the jungle while he can. FDY moving back in towards the mid lane. He's got PYL to follow up as well. Intruder takes this opportunity to clear as many wards as he can. But he is right in between the Jing Dong sandwich, is what I'm going to call it, because Clid and Yagao are on the top side, and they have this bottom side of RD and Mao.
And we're in this situation where I feel that Zoom and Yagao actually should have committed to pushing their side lanes. Zoom didn't pull out. He's still pushing bottom, but LeBlanc did. Reset a position, got another back end, now has Morello's. Because LGD are constantly diving towards that mid lane tower, which is the right call, but it means that JD aren't getting anything in return. Which they could actually trade.
And this Gnar has gotten so much gold. Like, he's been in the side lane for the entire game. He had 314 farm at 29 minutes. I mean, that's pretty much unheard of on a Gnar pick who, I mean, doesn't have AoE clear, so he doesn't just rock up to waves. And Intruder, oh, he's caught out by himself in the jungle. The one misstep from LGD. And Yuki's also dead in the 1v1. Well, it's not all Intruder's fault.
and that would basically mean the Baron here. So the teleport is up from Jinnu, so he could try to join Rakan and Xayah to attempt to stall this, but I don't think it's worth it, because if you die there, you're still losing the Baron, and then you're losing all of your wave manipulation. Instead, FDY are just trying to push mid as hard as they can, so the only option for JD is just to take the back.
And here's that assassinate onto Yuki. Thought he was away, but ooh, that Sigil of Malice, so much damage. Chunked him down, took him out, and we have to reset the counter. JD have managed to pick up a Baron right here for us.
It has been 0 days since there was an accident on Zeus.
We're all good. JD, what can you do with the Baron now? They can, I mean, they don't really want to stall, because that's exactly the situation we were in like 5 minutes ago, where LGD was stalling, and they were like, okay, fine, we'll just keep doing this forever. But JD, what can they do with this Baron?
Well, they can attempt to split up the map so that all of the wave clear is isolated into one location, which is what they're doing right now. Again, their composition was still always strong at the 1-3-1, even though Gnar is more so itemizing towards a 5v5 rather than just straight split push victory, although he does now have a banner of command. But you know what I mean, going for the two resistances and the Black Cleaver versus having something like a Hurricane, which we've seen.
Mostly from Marin.
But he is the Gnar player.
True, though he has picked up a couple of rapid-fire cannons as well. Here comes Gao once again with the side lane split push, and he's slowly chunking this tower down.
Yeah, and it's just about separating LGD's composition, making sure that they can't get all of their wave clear, namely the Azir, in one location, and then just picking away at these towers.
That's what they're doing, just chipping and chipping away.
And I really like that they have the banner of command in the Azir lane, so even though Azir's there, he still can't stop it with the wave clear because Ganondorf is too strong. So missed lane assignments from LGD to not catch that and lose 2 towers at once when they didn't need to.
Unable to really defuse the situation. LeBlanc will get the top tower, now we'll get the bottom tower. And now he's being aggressed on. They're just trying to push into him so they can clear out the cannon. There we go, it's finally dead. There will be another one in around a minute 30 from now. LGD still in this mid lane. Yuki is holding down the fort. Jinnu looks for the knock-up, but Yagao promptly dashes away. And mid lane tower is also down. So here comes the hard part. Actually trying to crack the inhibitors now from LGD.
But the JD have the right idea. You can already see the pings going down the bottom. Hold on, engagement.
There's the engage, but RD, he's safe. He has the black shield on him. I can't say that for Zoom, however, who is going to die right here. FDY flashes over the wall into the team. Oh, what?
Hello. Bet you wish you had flash.
Oh, PYL dashed into the trap.
Good scene, it's hard.
Well, that turns into a 1-for-1, so JD will actually stick around now because they are actually able to go toe-to-toe with LGD.
Didn't you feel like they were like sprinting, that all this momentum, they're like a snowball, they're starting rolling downhill, they're getting bigger, and then they just hit a brick wall and just completely obliterated?
Yeah, that was the League of Legends equivalent of a banana peel right there. He just walked right over it, he's on the floor. And top tower, I mean, that's pretty much it. They've managed to crack these inhibitor towers now. Top lane is already down, moving towards the mid lane. Yagao is still pushing, and Intruder and FDY can't fully commit on this LeBlanc pick because they'll just dash away. Mid lane tower is also down. Bot lane being pushed in as well. LGD are just bleeding out.
But PYL has returned, so they've at least got all 5 members. Will he get the inhib? Here comes the TP!
They're trying. Cleared, jumped into the fight. It's a 2 versus 2, and the TP will tip the scales. Jinnu is completely by himself. Sounds the Ornhorn. Will get the knockup onto 3 right here. Will be enough though, because Zoom is in the thick of it. He's going 1 versus 4. He's very much dead. He's only just respawned as well, so back to the death chamber for you. 2 kills over to LGD.
We're too hyped right now. Zoom decided that he wanted to go in to look for the skirmish, to look for the fight, instead of just focusing on taking the inhib. Does eventually fall, but that was a bit of a
scuffle.
Scuffle, that's a good one. I was like, I need a synonym for fiesta.
Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
It's a good one. And LGD, well, they've lost a lot from that push. That Baron push was so many towers.
And then looking for the kills here. Someone just hit the inhib and just disengage. And Zoom, at this point, just leave.
Oh, he can't. He tried. He couldn't. Denied out from Yuki. Great ultimate coming in there will take out the Gnar in the end.
See, the thing is he shouldn't have been there in the first place. LeBlanc's got all those gap closures.
I know.
Someone needs to say, I've got it.
Definitely didn't need to be there. He was feeling it, though. He was feeling the ultimate. He was feeling the fight. But JD very much disengaged. But great stuff from JD. With the Baron, they've managed to push up, take 1, 2, 3, 5 towers now from LGD. and are poised to try and take this game now.
Yeah, and likewise, next dragon is the Elder. So JD, we said that they really struggle, post 18 minutes. They have definitely cleaned it up this game. They're now sitting on a sizable gold lead. The question is, can they still close? Because LGD's composition is still very scary. One inhib, especially on the top side of the map, isn't the most important inhib to have. So still a lot of ground left to cover if they want to cross their T's, dot their I's.
Yeah, LGD don't have many lives left, but they definitely have just maybe one to try and survive the onslaught from JD. You're right, it's probably going to be around either this Elder or the Baron. If you're JD, you probably want to stall and not play around Baron.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, is it's still very hard to crack into that base when you're looking at Xayah and Azir. We talked about how all of the gold is on FDY. Like, look at that itemization. He is so big right now, and Xayah loves when people try to run into her, and that's exactly what you have to do if you have her backed into her base. So again, still a lot of respect to how JD are reading this map and splitting up all of the resources for LGD.
It's worth mentioning that Yao was also very, very big in this game. Almost one-shot Yuki right there. RD stepping up to this inhibitor. Intruder unable to dissuade him really from taking this one down, so that will be the second inhibitor falling. Now Zoom will move into this bottom lane with Klid. Look at this last remaining inhibitor turret here for LGD. There's also a push on the top side. Yagao is trying to just finish the game right here.
Yeah, no one can stop him. We wanted game 3 to be about Yagao. We were done with the protect the 80 carry compositions, and RD gave him a good run in the mid-game fights. Caitlyn come flying out of those team fights, but Yagao has been the real carry this game for JD.
Here's the engage, but there's that Morgana pick coming into play as well. Again, the Black Shield onto RD. He's protected, but the re-engage. There's no Black Shield this time. Down goes the Caitlyn, and Zoom also quick to follow. Mao is about to be destroyed for the triple kill from FDY.
And guess what? Morgana Bindings, or Morgana Dark Shield isn't up, so you immediately look for the re-engage and you find it. And then all of the pressure that Yagao had created on the top side of the map, all of the distraction, means nothing because they need to crack bottom tower now. And again, they die 23 seconds before Baron! Artie, why?
I don't know. We're about to start the counter again, though. Khalid is backing away. I mean, he can't really do too much right now. Yagao's still trying to pressure the top side and at least be a threat for LGD to think about, but Baron's about to spawn in around 8 seconds, and there's still 22 seconds on the death timer of RD, and even longer on Zoom.
And Khalid's not even going to try to contest it. He's actually going to try to force the bot inhib tower. Yeah, this is going to be a free Baron for LGD. This is the third time that RD's death has directly led to JD not getting a Baron.
This is the 4th Baron that JD have lost in this series, Frosk. JD have picked up 1 Baron, 4 over to LGD. Bot tower, did it fall? It didn't even fall, so Clid unable to get that push off, and now LGD, they can buy so much time with this Baron buff. The game will not end in the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, because they'll just sit into their base, which basically means that their inhibs are going to come back up, which is a huge window for them to exit their base and to contest for this Elder with a composition that outscales JD's composition.
I'm honestly scared for JD at this point in time because FDY is massive. He's even gotten to the point where he's not only full item build, but also has the Ornn upgrade as well in his Infinity Edge. Yuki is almost full item build. He's even just gone for a pot right here, feeling there's going to be engaged in the near future. And JD Gaming, I mean, they have to play smart around this because I don't think they win in a straight 5-on-5 brawl anymore.
And the thing is credit to LGD. They understand exactly what their composition was supposed to do, what they were supposed to do at pretty much every facet of the game. And yeah, there's been individual mishaps, particularly from Yuki, getting solo killed a lot, getting burst out, but he still is where he needs to be and understand what needs to be happening. So if LGD win, it's just because they had a better read on the situation. They understood exactly what their win conditions were and at what point in the game. And they've just slowly rolled over JD.
LGD, they'll take down the middle tower with no worries, no problems whatsoever. Here comes the Ornhorn, wants to zone away the AD carry. A flash out from RD, in fact. It's going to be huge on the AD carry not having that one. Jinnu will back away from this one. And the tower is down, so LGD pretty happy with this push, but here comes the chase down now from JD Gaming. Another slow out from Klid.
Now I'm going to say, and this is probably a controversial opinion, but RD not having his flash may actually save him, because it means he can't flash forward.
I mean, you're not wrong, but he just have a net to flash in now.
Damn it!
So he's still able to do so.
It's funny because when Clement was briefing us on RD, he's a really aggressive player. He loves to play on the front lines, but AHQ felt that On had more consistency. I can definitely see that now. I've got enough tape of RD where I'm starting to get his personality. And I like it because it's spicy, but this is way too much of a spicy meatball for me to swallow.
Oh, he's very bloodthirsty. But he never reins it in, It's he's just constantly unleashed at all times. So that's definitely another thing to be concerned about if you're JD, because LGD right now grouping up at this death ball, and I feel like they've just acknowledged the fact that their 5v5 is straight up stronger.
They're trying to protect their Cannondorf because they thought that someone would come down to clear it out, and then they would find the pick. Because they're also guarding the Elder Dragon, so they have vision that covers entrance from the river, and they're waiting for someone to take the long route around. They're just Death Bush.
When in doubt, Death Rush. It's always an effective tactic. We've got 15 seconds left on this Elder Dragon respawn as I'm talking. Here comes Yagao. Takes out the spell shield from Yuki, so now he has to play back. He can't get full combo by Yagao because he probably will just straight up die right here, even with that Banshee's Veil magic resistance.
Now take a look at where Klid is. He's underneath, either looking for someone he can pick up on the flanks or looking for a route into steal. So good eyes from Intruder to make sure that he sweeps him out.
Yeah, smoked him out, and now Intruder's coming for the full wraparound. Engage out from PYL, Ornhorn comes through, lands a massive knock-up, and Zuma's already dead. RD is down for the count. Klid tries to scatter along with Yagao, and 2 kills over to LGD. They'll surely pick up the Elder Dragon. They might look for the win.
And at this point, JD are just trying to do damage control. You can see that Klid is running up the mid lane, trying to catch the creep
Yagao's
wave.
just dead. Yuki finally gets his revenge. The Golden Chicken has slayed his captor, and now he's just going to ram it down the mid lane.
And you can see exactly what LGD's plan are. They're immediately pinging towards the Nexus. As long as they protect that cannon creep, they have enough to tank. They can actually just end.
They're doing it right now. Here comes their cannon minion. They're onto these double Nexus turrets. They have the backdoor resistances down. Mao is off to the side, but he's just a Morgana. What can he do? Tormented Sword's not going to do anything, and Klid is in the enemy base. LGD are doing it right now. 40 minutes on the clock, and LGD with a massive upset against Jingdong.
And a huge victory for LGD here. Again, they are completely out of playoff contention. They're not playing to go further in the league. They're simply playing for the pride of Hangzhou. They have very rarely gotten to hear the cheers and represent this crowd well, and they finally get to take a bow on their home stage.
Great stuff from LGD today. Managing to pull it to a game 3. Getting Baron after Baron, and eventually closing out as well, just understanding what their composition does, stalling when they needed to. I mean, the only thing you could look back on this series, or rather this game, is getting caught out in the jungle, but that was the only real thing because LG were able to bounce back, look for this game, finish it off, take it over JD, and earn their well-deserved bow.
Covering for Yuki as well. If you have to think that there is something to exploit, it would be their mid laner, but even then, they understood that. Yuki himself seemed to understand that. They hit him well. Intruder, Jinu, PYL, all stepping up to the plate to help LGD get over the finish line.
But we have to talk about what this means for Jingdong Gaming because, I mean, in terms of the e-commerce war, I mean, Suning Gaming are in a much better position now. The fact that JD lost this series.
It may be that JD's playoffs hopes die here. They still technically have a chance, but if you look down along the timeline, if they don't make playoffs, it is this series that everyone points to. This was supposed to be the theoretic free win. You're against LGD, one of the bottom teams, not just in the Eastern Conference, but in the LPL. Yeah,
they're eliminated from playoffs as well, but unable to take the win here today. And Jingdong Gaming, I mean, we talk about their high highs when they can beat teams like RNG, but at the same time, they are inconsistent, and we saw that today.
Always going back to around those Baron plays. Already definitely sticks out like a sore thumb, though. Repeatedly caught at very key moments throughout this series. Not just in a single game. All 3 games, Artie's death single-handedly cost them Barons.
Multiple times, yeah, throughout this set, as you were saying as well. Yagao, I liked the focus from Jingdong Gaming to try and mix it up, but I kind of wanted to see that earlier into the set. You know, it feels like that second game kind of just went over to LGD because they were trying something new. It feels like they were experimenting in the first game. They were like, okay, well, this is more of a throwaway game more than anything. We can test something new. And it's like, oh, this is a bit of a struggle. Head into the second game, still kind of experimenting, bring out the Kai'Sa. That goes awry. And then they go into the third game, and then they go back to what they think works, but they're not practiced with it, and then they just end up losing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Yagao tried his little heart out, but it wasn't just enough. And again, huge credit to LGD and a huge congratulations. Especially want to see Intruder get some sort of MVP.
Yeah, 100%. Intruder put in massive work in that series. And good stuff from LGD. Let's go ahead and send it to the analyst desk to take a look at that set.
And take a look, we absolutely shall. LGD, can you believe it, Raz, the upset?
Okay, great for LGD. Sure, LGD are looking well today. I think immediately just to talk about the 2v2, because I know this is a little bit too quick to the punch, but FDY looked really good today.
In the bottom lane, yeah.
Really looked like solidly, specifically in that game. So he was able to showcase some strength there, and a strong showing from him when people are looking towards, well, can he fill the shoes of Imp? That game, yeah, he did.
He certainly did, of course, putting up some big numbers for the likes of his team on that Xayah, of course, with PYL on the Rakan to help him follow through, and Intruder on Olaf in the jungle. We saw such excellent presence from LGD in the bottom lane, but that wasn't necessarily what won them the game, though.
Yeah, it
certainly helped.
It definitely helped. And though this is why I'm kind of tempered, not really as excited, because LGD's they're kicked out of playoffs.
Yeah.
They don't have that opportunity to come in. It's supposed to be Jingdong that showcases not only, I would say, a thrashing, that they're supposed to showcase this is how strong we are. This is our compositions that we've been running from the beginning of the split to now. There's no secrets here. But apparently they had secrets. Apparently they're trying to hide something. So they're showcasing weirder compositions. This time around, they thought they're going to come in with proper lanes in Game 3, winning lanes for themselves in the top side, top, mid, and bottom lane were all winning lanes.
Yeah.
And the bottom lane got completely manhandled in level 2. And then they come back level 4, and FDY once again showcases that he has the mechanics, flashes in for a stun, and gets the kill as well. So immediately 4 minutes in, the lane that you drafted for yourself that's supposed to be the winning lane is completely far behind.
Yeah.
And that's not even so much what I'm criticizing is the strategy of picking a 1-3-1 composition into straight team fighting, a 1-3-1 composition that completely falls off in team fighting 30 minutes onwards. And sure, we saw a great, I would say, movement coming out at Jingdong where they were top lane, mid lane. They already got 2 inhibitors before the reckoning happened. The reckoning.
Yep.
So they knew how to play out their composition. It's the risk involved of one misstep that you no longer have control of the game. And that's what they fell into.
And this is a problem that we've seen Jingdong make multiple times over the course of this series. And ultimately, it did cost them this series against LGD. Completely different game 1 from 2 and 3, just slowly slipping further and further down the rungs of those ladders. That being said, FDY will take our MVP. You mentioned his excellent laning performance, his mechanics to close that one out. 7, 1, and 5. Bang, bang! He's looking at you.
I got the finger guns rolling too. So he's looking at me to say, just waiting. If I say anything bad about him. I don't have anything bad to say about you. This game was fantastic in your sense. So really well done from FDY and PYL in the early laning phase to really just bum rush and put RD down. So that was great. But now we're going back into the criticizing field.
Yeah.
So we had game after game where Jingdong had the opportunity to pick up Galio. I said that Jingdong have no more secrets. We've seen them throughout the entire split go back towards the Galio in the mid lane. They can go towards Skarner, though Xiaohan has played a lot of Skarner. Clid, play a Skarner too.
Yeah.
Or you pick yourself the Olaf. The reason why I'm criticizing drafts is that they can play not towards a different style. Go back to comfort. All you need to do is go back to comfort and use this game as a practice tool of saying, hey, you know what? What can we make a mistake? If there's a mistake being made, then we can improve upon that and have the perfect game.
Yeah.
Play towards a perfect game rather than playing towards, can we play this strategy? Does this new strategy work for us?
Yeah.
So they went with,
again, it's week 8. They have 3 series left. Now 2 series left. And as a result of that loss, they now find themselves at 8 and 9 in the standings. A single series behind Suning at 9 and 8. So again, the battle for 4th place is still very much alive, but the journey for Jingdong to get there is so much more difficult. They have to beat Suning to tie it up, and then they also have to beat Rogue Warriors next weekend to guarantee that they make it in. And that is not going to be an easy task, especially after what we saw today.
Yeah, so that's going to be important. Something we have to have in the back ahead, week 3, Jingdong and Suning played before.
Yeah.
2-1 in favor of Jingdong so that they can at least focus on the head-to-head. If they find themselves tying, that's important for as well.
If they take a single win, that'll be that head-to-head as well. But again, that's the e-commerce wars happening in a few days. We now are going to turn towards our second match today, Page 2. BLG versus FPX. Billy Gaming versus Fun plus Phoenix. This is also a battle for 4th place. The game has already started underway. We recommend you avoid all social media platforms while we get you caught up and try to figure out what's going on as we have picks and bans on our screens right here. BLG, of course, at 8 and 7. FPX right behind them, trying to chase them down at 7 and 8. Looks like we've got Swain, Skarner, Varus, Thresh, and Ornn, and Camille for Gimgoon. Zach, Tom Kench, Caitlyn, and Talia.
Immediately, I'm going to talk about the FPX lineup because I actually do appreciate the fact that the Talia pick does quite well in terms of getting the shove out. Sure, it's a poor lane matchup into Swain. Swain has just a lot of good matchups for himself, but as long as Talia can avoid that lane, look towards either the bottom side of the map, which has so much priority, the Caitlyn and the Tom Kench. If the Thresh ever gets a pick, that's fine. Tom Kench gobbles them up, and there's so much safety in that lane, and Talia can accelerate the siege potential from that. Or go top lane, and Camille suddenly has pick potential into the top laner. So I think there's a lot of strengths in the laning phase on the side of FunPlus.
In addition to that, it's also FPX with Cool in the mid lane.
True.
He revitalizes the roster in a lot of new ways and brings a lot of sort of comfort on those roaming champions. We've seen his Cassiopeia. Heck, we've seen him play Vel Cause. Talia is something that he was known for when he was on LGD. So already we see a strong composition from FPX.
And what's funny is that you talked about that he's known for that. Another player that's known for the Talia pick is Bing as well. So the fact that seems like FPX are going back to the champion, or at least the play style that worked well for them, or at least well enough for them to get victories in the first half of the split. Now they're going back to Cool. What I like about the difference between both Cool in, I would say, later on, or at least the few games that we've seen from him, and that Bing earlier on in the split, is that the kill participation, even though we've seen so much tape on the side of Bing, is still in favor of Cool.
Yeah.
So Cool has been aiding his teammates a lot more, and now that he gets the pick of Talia, I think it will have a good showing for himself.
Yeah, of course, on the other side, BLG, they're playing with Chieftain and Mole in the mid and jungle. That's that Swain-Skarner combination. That could be real dangerous.
Yeah, and we've only seen the Sejuani out of Chieftain, so I want to see what he can do on the Skarner.
We'll have to see how it works out. Our casters are now ready to get us into Game 1 between BLG and FPX.